Nope, now we are.
Oh, you had me muted.
I did have you muted.
How rude.
How rude. That's how we roll around here.
That's right. That's right.
Well, good morning, everybody. Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good.
It's fine.
Yes,
That's
I'm
on me. I typically try to remind everybody.
It'd be all right. So we got Mr. Tim Bennett in from 1689 Home Inspections tonight.
I'm so glad you said that correctly because I screw it up every single time.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. There's a show out there that throws everybody off, I think, nowadays.
1889.
Is it
1889.
Is it 1683? Anyway, I don't know.
That's
I think there might be
1983.
one. Yeah.
1983.
Well, we're going to talk home inspections. And I think this is our first home inspector that I can... We should have done some homework on ourselves.
No, Tim is our first home inspector.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, we've had the killer pest.
Yeah.
We've had plumber. I mean, there's a whole
Electrician.
list. Electrician.
Heat and air.
Yep. Not a home inspector. Tim's the first.
Hope you're all ready.
New territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
how are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I'm hanging in there,
Good.
as they say.
As they say. So, Tim, tell us a little bit about yourself before we just dive on into the inspections.
Okay. Well, my name's Tim Bennett. I own 1689 Home Inspection. I'm from Heber Springs, Arkansas, over on Biddle Road, over there by the Big Dyke. 49 years old. I don't know how much information you want.
Married, kids.
I am married. I am
and
married to a very beautiful woman named Naomi.
Let me tell you, and the woman can cook. She's a rock star
She's got the cookies down, I can tell you that.
on, sourdough chocolate chip cookies. They're amazing. I think this is like our third or fourth batch of them. Yeah, they won't last the weekend.
I'm getting kind of known for those cookies.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are the cookie inspector.
Someone said that one time.
Yeah. I think when we were at our last board meeting, you and I talked about that, being known as the cookie inspector, the cookie
I'm
guy.
happy with that. Fine with it.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, can y'all hear Tim all right?
They'll let us know
Yeah,
if they
they'll let
can't
us
hear
know.
you.
But yeah, I'm married to Naomi, and I have a 14-year-old daughter named Hannah and a almost 12-year-old boy named Charlie.
Charlie. I love that name.
It's a good name.
He's named after his grandpa, my dad.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So, what made you get into home inspection?
Hold on. Before you get into that,
Uh-oh.
I like the name.
I was getting to that.
Let's we can touch on it again, but
I was getting to that.
I like the name.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. And it's even better where it comes from.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can see it. Got a copy of it.
We get it close enough that they can see it. It may make the camera go blurry, but we'll try.
Well,
Put it to that one.
so I was
and we'll
trying to
let
think of a name. A friend of mine at church named Luke. We were trying to think of a name for my business. And so we were throwing stuff out there, and I didn't like any of it. And he goes, "What about 1689 Home Inspection?" And as soon as I heard it, I just loved it. I said, "Yeah, that's what we're going with." But anyway, 1689, that number comes from the year 1689. In 1689 in London, a bunch of Baptist theologians got together and they wrote down the 1689 London Baptist Confession of Faith, which is summaries of the major doctrines of the Bible. You know, some things in the Bible, you have to study the entire Bible from front to finish before you'd understand it. Well, they did all that work and wrote it down in a few short paragraphs on each one, so it's easy to understand. It's kind of a resource, really.
Yeah.
study guide.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm happy with it. I've been able to hand out a bunch of those because of it. Yeah. So it's
Well, if
working
you're
out.
handing them out,
Right.
you want one?
yeah,
Right.
you bet. Well, I mean, you didn't have to do it right this second, but I mean, being you're on it, that's cool.
I think that's the only copy I got with me.
Oh, be all right. And so I guess because she was trying to ask that question, what made you decide to do home inspections?
Yeah. Well, last June, we were selling my in-laws' farm out at Allred. I don't know if you know where that's at.
We
You know
do.
where that's at? It's
Yeah.
way out there. Way out there.
It really is way out there.
Way out there.
Some pretty
you go to
buggy riding.
Clinton and you take a left and go up in the hills for about 25 minutes.
Just keep going. Yeah.
And
Yep.
eventually you got into their farm. Well, they started getting to be in poor health. And so we talked them into selling the farm and moving closer to us. But lo and behold, right when the house went into contract, my father-in-law had to be taken to the hospital. And then he got shipped to Little Rock. And so the inspector was coming out, inspector and the real estate agent. And I had to go out there and meet them because they had an old-fashioned door and they couldn't put a real estate lock on it, like you see, you know. So I had to meet him out there and unlock it. And I just watched him and talked to him and kind of Googled what he was doing. I hadn't really thought about home inspecting ever before, but I was watching him and like I said, talking to him. And by the time he left, I thought, I think I can do better than that. I think I can do this.
Right.
And I actually think, I was thinking to myself, I think I can do a pretty good job at this because of my electrical experience. And I used to sell HVAC and plumbing. So I had a pretty good background in that also. So I just went for it. It's pretty expensive to get into, but that's how it happened.
Right on. And now it's been a year now.
No, it's I got my got to go to the school and pay all the taxes and all that. But I started I got my license at the very end of August, and started putting out business cards and all that, and going to visit people and get my name out there. So I think about 6 months
Okay.
is what it's been.
Okay.
So real fresh.
Pretty new, yeah.
Yeah.
Really new, actually.
So have you
Compared to a lot of them.
Yeah.
experienced the really tight crawl spaces and attics and the creepy crawlies?
I don't mind the attics. That's just the crawl spaces. I'm not a fan of crawl spaces, but I mean, if you have to, you have to. It is
Yeah,
what it
well,
is.
I mean,
I'm
if
kinda
it's part of your
claustrophobic, though.
job,
I can't even watch movies where they're doing cave diving.
he cannot.
I
Because of the
can't.
tight spaces.
Yeah, I get claustrophobic
It's
just
weird.
watching
I don't
it.
mind tight spaces. I don't. I've had to have the MRIs a few times, the closed MRIs. And
Yeah.
fell asleep. It doesn't bother me. I know some people can't stand it.
Yeah,
can't-
it doesn't
I can't do
bother
it.
me either. It's like crawl spaces and whatnot. It's the things that can get on me
Yeah.
that and I have a bad phobia.
So far, I haven't run into any snakes or big spiders or anything crazy.
Yeah, it's not what's under there that's bothered me. It's just not being able to move. That's what gets me. But it is what it is. We all have our things, right?
Yeah. So we're going to jump right off in it. So what would you say would be a very, because I know the inspection and the reports because we've all seen them. But what is your go-to for this can cause life or death? It needs to be known, and it top of the report. What, in your professional opinion?
You mean like the most important or the most alarming thing? Holes in the roof, water damage. Water can just ruin a house. So if there's water leaking, an active plumbing leak, hole in the roof, that's got to be. I've got colors for the different severities of the infractions, if you want to call it, the defects.
Right.
There's blue, a minor thing, a maintenance thing. There's orange where this needs to be corrected. And then there's red, and I don't use that very often. And that is, hey, you actually ought to get a hold of the people that own it and tell them that they got an active water leak or they've got a live wire sticking out or something to keep either the house from being reduced to no value or somebody getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we bought our house in 2009, it had the electric wall heaters, one in every room.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, we bought the house, and of course, it was an older house. Had two 100-amp panels. A lot of the breakers were off. When we bought the house, I was like, I want all the power on.
Yep.
Rolled with it. 2016, 17, somewhere in there, from 2009 till then, we decided to remodel. Well, the very first one of them grates I pulled off, guess what those wires were in there? Hot. Yeah.
And
We've
have been
living-
hot
the
from
whole time we've been living there.
2009 to 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah. Well, we corrected all that, but yeah, just dumb.
Yeah.
And we had our house inspected. Of course, I'm sure that gentleman is retired, long gone. I mean, you know.
Never know.
Yeah. Well, if I was betting, I would say he's
He's older.
retired. Yeah. But so when it comes to home inspections, did you have a question that you?
Yeah. What is the most common problems you see?
GFIs, ground fault circuit interrupters, the little plug-ins, receptacles you see in the kitchen and bathrooms. That's the main one you see.
I
better,
actually
though.
could have answered that because, I mean, you pretty much do see the GFCIs on
Almost everyone.
almost every
Almost
report.
every-
Yeah, almost. I did
Yeah.
one yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. As far as GFIs go, 100%. Of course, there's a new house,
Right.
Yeah,
but that's pretty rare, even for new houses.
exactly.
Well, I'll say this. If you go to Conway or a larger city, a new house is going to be really well wired.
Because they have in like city
Easy. Easy.
inspectors,
Well,
right?
Yeah,
Don't be giving nobody no wild hair.
What?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
We have home inspectors. We're good. Continue on, sir.
oh, she's talking about building inspectors.
Yeah, I know. We have home inspectors. We're good. Keep moving.
Oh, sorry. I was
Anyway,
like, what? It was,
yeah, they're more prevalent out in the country. We'll say that. You see a lot of absence of GFIs, and like I told you all about when I first met you, the arc faults are getting to be a thing.
oh,
I mean, to be
yeah.
fair, we all lived a lot of years before GFCI was ever
a thing.
a thing.
Exactly.
It's not that. I mean, I get it, but it's not that big a deal.
No. But speaking of that, and I know you came in and you talked to all of us and whatever, but just sitting here talking about the GFCIs, and I think you answered it in that meeting, but I don't remember. So I'm going to ask it again. On the GFCIs, would you put that like, or is it even a different plug for like the water heater if it's electric?
No, not a water heater.
Okay. Because I know typically it's around water, like the kitchen sink or the bathroom sink or,
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't know why that just.
That's ironic, isn't it? It's full of water, but in some places
Right.
you don't have to have a GFI for it. But if it's in a crawl space, technically it's supposed to be on a GFI.
Really?
Everything in your crawl space is supposed to be GFI protected.
I didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't do that. I don't think. But you
No.
don't plug them in anyway. They all go to the breaker most of the time.
Yeah, a lot of them are hardwired. I like to see them with a plug-in of some kind of a disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And so with those new ones that you were talking about, the new, what'd you call them?
Arc faults.
Yeah. Are you seeing a lot more of those?
Depends where you're at. I was in Conway Monday for Mrs. Fox, actually. And that house had arc faults. And not many houses more than 4 or 5 years old have them. But this one was built in, I believe, 2010 or 2011. It had some
Really?
Okay.
down in Conway.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. Because how long have those been out?
The same.
Okay. What is something you least look forward to when you're doing a home inspection?
It's the crawl space. I mean, it's the crawl space.
Yeah, because I mean, they can get real tight.
Yeah, they can get skinny.
Yeah, I was under a manufactured home yesterday, and it had a lot of condensation underneath it, and it was muddy under there, and it was tight. So I was on hands and knees crawling, however long it was, 80 foot long,
Right.
So it's not fun.
No.
No,
No, my 49-year-old knees don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
coming
I don't
out
like it.
covered to head to toe in mud.
Yeah, I've got overalls or coveralls that I put on, but they're muddy now.
So, do you do that like kind of towards the beginning of your inspection or at the end?
At the end, I save it for last.
Yes.
Because if you do get muddy or
You don't want to track it in people's houses.
Yeah.
anyone track it in the house, and you get bitten by something, you don't want to.
Yeah.
You want to
Cut
have
it
it done.
short.
You
Yeah.
want to have everything done.
Well, sorry, I can't finish your inspection.
I mean, that's funny, but I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't gonna mention the critters, but yeah, but that is true.
Yeah.
Crawl under there and go 5 feet. And, well, this one's done. That wouldn't be good.
Brown recluse.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen some down there.
I guarantee you.
okay. We're changing the subject. I'm gonna have nightmares. So what kind of things do you normally check for?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah. Kayla,
a
can
lot of
you
things.
kind of narrow it down? Because I will say most of our inspection reports that we get are like, I'm going to say anywhere 40 to 60 pages long.
And it's everything from the
very
roof covering
detailed.
to
Yes.
what the house is
Pictures.
sitting on and everything in between.
If you printed out a full report and sat down and read it, it would take a while.
Yeah.
And
But if you read the whole
it
thing,
word for word.
Yeah.
it would take a while.
Yeah. And I will say that's not just your inspection. That's any licensed inspector that we have dealt with. I'll put it that
I mean, I'd
way.
be honest with you. If we got a home inspection back and it was only like 5 to 10 pages,
I'm scratching my head.
I'd be going, we might want a second opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to whoever you hired, but
Right. Well, the good thing about it is, like with your inspection, there's pictures, there's videos,
Yep.
there's explanation, your professional. I don't want to say opinion, but your professional outlook.
how do you word it? I mean,
There you go. That's
how
a
would you prefer to put that?
Suggestions on the recommendations.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, my default recommendation is, if it's an electrical problem, contact a licensed electrician. Mm-hmm. And I always put it on every one of my comments when I find something a defect. I'll say I recommend further evaluation and correction by a licensed blank. And that I know that sounds like kicking down the road, but the home inspector is really not supposed to be telling them how to fix things and how to do this.
Right.
You open yourself up to a lot of liability that you don't want.
Right.
And you don't want people doing things themselves, or you at least don't want to tell people to do things themselves. You want a licensed professional, somebody
like when
an
we-
expert in their field.
Yeah. Well, like when we bought our house, I mean, when we looked at it, I mean, I wasn't as smart when we bought it as I was when we sold it, but I learned a lot, But when we walked in, I mean, I was like, this will work. But I'm one of those people that I can see in my head before it ever happens, kind of thing. And I don't know, when we walked in, there was holes in the wall and the screen was ripped off the door. And I'm like, this is the one, And I wanted the home inspection basically just to,
For our knowledge.
is it going to catch on fire when I lay down tonight? That's all I care about.
Right.
Is it going to get me from point A to point, That's what I'm worried about. And as long as there's none of that, I want the challenge. But that was for me. I mean, I know everybody's not that way. Some people don't want any issues.
No. Some people believe that the house they're looking at ought to be perfect, even though the house they just sold or about to sell or just left has problems.
And there's no perfect house, even
There is
brand
not
new
one.
ones.
No one's ever built one. There's not one that you can find anywhere that's perfect. They all have flaws. They all have something that needs improvement.
Well, and when you think about the word perfect, I mean, you also have to think about what rules and regulations are you basing this word off of? Where are they coming from? You know, so there's no way to have your perfect house. I mean, you can pay somebody to build you one and put everything in it you want, but odds are, if a home inspector comes by, it's not perfect.
No, you can't build a perfect house because there's no perfect people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everybody makes mistakes. I don't care what you're doing. If you're a doctor, you've never gone without making mistakes.
Right.
And,
Well, at the same time, just like with any industry, things are changing, things are evolving, and whatnot. So,
Yeah, I mean, if you build a house today, what say you built it by the book today, well, in 3 weeks, 3 paragraphs in that book changed.
yep.
I mean, and that's just how quick it happens.
right,
Sadly,
right.
I mean, there's no way.
Yeah, the electrical code book changes every 3 years.
That's wild.
Or, it might just be slightly,
Right,
but there's revisions every 3 years.
which is a good thing,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
it makes it really hard to get a perfect house.
exactly. But houses are safer today than they've ever been because of that. But if you buy an older house, 20-year-old house, 25-year-old house, it's not going to be as safe, and it's going to have what we call defects,
Yeah.
like the GFIs, things that are for safety.
Right, right. And I had a question, and it went.
That happens
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Remember the forgetfulness we were talking about?
when the gray hair starts showing up. The brain farts come with it.
I'm gonna let y'all speak for yourselves on the gray hair part.
Hey, easy,
Leave me out of that conversation.
easy. Get Zoe in here; she can find some. You're in there.
Oh, hang on.
But
I had
no,
a question. Okay, should there be more oversight in permitting and building in our area?
Well, I wouldn't say so. You always want, when it comes to building, you want oversight. I don't think you can have too much. As long as the guy that knows his stuff and he's just holding you to the standard that the rest of the country's being held to.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Whether or not we need more around here, I don't know. Over in Heber, where I live, I just got an inspection on a house that I wired, and the guy knew his stuff, and he come and inspected it, and we got a final inspection, and everything went good. But I don't know much about the Grass Ferry area as far as that goes. Talking to Brandon about his question.
Yeah, because he said need more building codes and inspections, and I asked him, was that a question or a comment? And then they come back with, should there be more oversight in permitting and building in our area? Because I will say for our viewers that it's been a long time since you've had a home inspected or anything like that. It is the inspector's job to find something wrong with the house.
Oh, yeah.
And odds are there's something to be
Yeah.
found that's
Yeah. I mean, like you said a while ago, if we get a report back that's only like 4 or 5 pages, you're like,
Did he do a drive-by on this thing?
yeah.
Yeah, the standard is perfection.
Yes.
Like when I go and inspect a house, I'm comparing your house to perfection.
Right.
Right, and every one of them falls short.
Yeah. Even the new constructions versus one that was built in the late 70s, early 80s, or, whatever. Yeah, there it went again. It was right there.
So, for the folks out there that don't know I mean, you can order a home inspection anytime you want one. You don't have to be in the process of a real estate transaction or anything like that.
Right.
If there's anybody out there listening that just wants to have their house inspected, you can call a home inspector and have that scheduled and have them come out and check your house. But typically in our world, it's during
A real estate transaction.
Yep.
and the inspection belongs to the buyer
The person that ordered the inspection.
that ordered it, and typically it's the buyer.
In our situation,
Right,
is
in our
typically
situation. If you call and order it, it's yours. So there's, for anybody out there that is wondering, you can have an inspection anytime you want one. All you have to do is call somebody and order it. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could add something to that,
Mm-hmm.
why don't, when people get ready to sell their house, why don't they get a home inspection and get things fixed before they go into contract and the buyer starts asking for a bunch of money off, or off the sale price?
That's a fair question, and I'll answer it as myself. Mr. Seller, I don't want you to spend any money that you may not need to spend. When you get a buyer, say you go in there and you fix everything this home inspector come and told you to fix. But when the buyer has their home inspection, they're going to have their list that they want. Now you're spending money twice.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. And Mr. Mrs. Seller, I want you to spend your money when it's time to spend your money. I don't want you to just spend it for the fun of it.
Sure.
Because they could take your report, and because I've had sellers do it, they can take your report and in their brain go down through there and see some yellow, some red, and some orange, and try to fix it all. And then something happened with the buyer's life or the buyer's financing or something, and they have to back out of it. Well, now they have money, which granted, upgrading or, fixing major repairs.
Yeah, I mean, if the roof's got a leak and, I mean, you can fill up a water bucket in your living room, go ahead and fix that.
Yeah. But it's
because that's going to benefit you or the next person. It doesn't matter.
It's got to be
That
fixed
needs to be
regardless. But some of it, and I've seen it a lot lately, the buyer have the home inspected and go down through there and say, I can fix this, I can fix this, I can fix this, I can fix this. I don't want to ask the seller to do it. So it's, I don't want to say a catch-22, but kind of a catch-22 on a seller doing it before they either put their house on the market or before they get a buyer.
Now, if there is that kind of it kind of goes back to what we were saying, what I said earlier. If you want one, by all means, get one. Not telling you not to, but as far as a real estate transaction goes, there's if you want to do it, we're not going to suggest you or push it upon you, Mr. and Miss Seller.
Right.
I offer a reduced price pre-market inspection. I don't do the entire house like I do a full inspection for a contract, but I do the major systems. Check out the roof, the plumbing, the HVAC, and the electrical for like $250.
And so that may be something that, with that being said, I mean, that may be something that they would want to do.
Just for major things.
Yeah, I mean, because whether I sell it or I don't sell it, I want my heat and air to work.
Right. So that may not be a bad idea to have these major things. Just go ahead and have them checked off, beforehand. I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
I'd hate to go through my house and pay an electrician to replace all these outlets in my house, and then you as an electrician buy my house. That wasn't very smart on my part.
Right.
You can handle that.
Well, and you have a lot of people, buyers, they go in and they look at this house, and as soon as they close on it, the first thing they want to do is take this wall out and put a window over here and put a door over here and move this wall over here.
And you just had that room rewired. And that's got to all be done
that's
again.
why it also comes back to a preference as well. So What happens if you have a new construction with bad block work? Is it common to have the block work fixed?
There are some people out there that specialize in that.
Yes.
I don't know exactly how they do it. If it's epoxy or if they somehow take that block out and replace it, I'm not sure. But there are foundation experts out there. And if I saw that on my report, that's what I would tell you: is call a foundation contractor and get an opinion.
So, in this, for curious minds, we are all, you living in Heber, and I'm assuming you've lived there for quite a while.
You've seen a lot of houses around the lake.
Is there, and I don't want to use the word code, but is there like a guideline on the differences in a foundation crack? It's settled, or you know what I mean? Because we see those a lot.
There's minor and then there's major.
Yes.
And
So
then there's lots of minor.
I think y'all lived here when that house slid down the hill
yep.
over there, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those had some major,
Yeah.
major
I would
cracks.
say so.
I'm assuming.
So,
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sure it hurt the people that own the house.
Oh yeah. I mean, not taking that lightly or making jokes
No, not
about
at
it,
all.
but
but I mean, it is part of the territory when you build on
a rock.
the hill
Yeah.
and shifting rock. I mean, it's stuff moves. It doesn't necessarily don't always mean you have serious issues.
Right. It's just, it's shifted some.
Yeah.
And I mean, now if you've got cracks this big, okay, we need to have that looked into further. But if you've just got a hairline little crack, okay, rocks shift.
I mean, like our house. I mean, it has several cracks in the brick.
Yeah.
I mean, our house was built in 68, 69.
But you walk in and you didn't see anything.
It's unfortunately, it's just part of it.
Yeah.
Stuff moves.
There's a little subdivision over at Heber, and the ground has so much clay in it that they have to dig very, very deep to pour their foundations. But even though they did that, they still had so much movement that almost all those houses in that little neighborhood have cracks in the doors, in the corners of the doors, all the way up to the ceiling. Y'all may have shown some of those.
And there's a good possibility. I mean, I can say I have yet to see a home, in exception of maybe a handful, regardless of the age, that has some settling in it.
That don't have some settling in it.
Is that
Right.
not what I said?
I think that's
I just said it backwards.
well. No, you're good.
Okay.
That don't have settling in it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been
what I mean.
It's been a long day.
Yes, we've been in CE all day. Tim worked out this morning. Good for you. Good
Yeah,
job.
glad somebody is.
I know. I told David I seen you walk by, and I was like, I think that was Tim. And I was like, is he joining us in CE?
That would have been fun.
No, I've got my own to do.
Yeah, yours is 2 days. Ours is 1.
8-hour days.
2
Wee.
8-hour days. That's gonna be.
That's something they don't tell you when you get into home inspecting. Is it's expensive and there's a lot of continuing education that has to be done.
So is that every year?
Yes.
I guess that's something they don't tell everybody about getting into real estate too. It can be.
Yeah, it's not
pretty
cheap
expensive
either.
getting in it. So I know it's been a pretty short career of doing home inspections, but and we've covered the crawl space thing. You're not a huge fan of it either. So do you, when you're doing a roof, I'm assuming a lot of them you get on and walk them.
Well, when I first started, I was charging the hill. and I was going to get on every roof, and then you find out the steep ones, are going to hurt you. I didn't get hurt, but I did buy a drone for that reason. If it's a low pitch roof, I'm going to walk it so I can see all the nails that they're visible, if they're visible. And but if it's a steep roof or 2-story, I'm going to use my drone.
And with those things are so amazing.
They are.
The cameras and stuff. It's just
The clarity in them.
it's almost better because you can't bend over and get close as that thing can get. Yeah. I mean it. So
I can reach flashings and everything you need with that drone.
Yeah.
Get real close and zoom in. It's nice.
So, with that being said, and you using the drone, how does it pick up with, like, if I forgot the wording, if it's got a fireplace and what is the sealant stuff called that's on it? How do you, like, for detailed stuff like that? How does the drone do with that?
It does pretty good.
Okay.
If you get a good one, it'll, even in some fairly strong winds, it'll hold its position fairly well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it will bob and weave a little bit, so you got to be careful.
Right.
And there are much better ones than I have, but mine's still pretty good.
But I mean, with just camera technology and everything else, I mean, the stabilization that's built into them and all. I mean, it's cameras are pretty stinking awesome these days.
Yeah. And I'm sure on a drone, the stability on it has to be pretty top notch to be able to take, pictures of, not saying you can't take bad ones, because we all get a little trigger happy when it comes to pictures and it not being right. But yeah, I was just curious about that with you saying total respect for using a drone instead of being, I'm getting on this roof. Like hours. I wouldn't wish nobody up there.
No.
Pretty steep.
Well, I don't know. The older I get, it just looks like it's going to hurt a lot if you fall.
If I fall, I'm breaking something.
Well, talking to a friend of mine, he's been a home inspector over around Memphis. I think he said for 22 years, and he doesn't get on roofs anymore. And he said he's fallen off of 3 or 4. He named off of 3 or 4 different times that he found himself hanging from a gutter, found himself in the bushes. So
I can believe it.
I broke my back once. I'm not looking to repeat that.
Yeah, not
One
doing
time,
that again.
One time seems like enough for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the drone is actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So not to throw home inspectors under the bus. Sorry, but it seems like one of the places that, I guess, 2 areas that we kind of have to push to someone else is septics and fireplaces, because for some reason in home inspections those don't seem to.
well, for an inspection,
They
I mean,
should be.
for a septic, that kind of requires some potential digging and
extra
whatnot.
knowledge, extra tools. But I get the feeling he's fixing to give us a little education on.
He's fixing to
Fireplaces.
educate
I
us.
was going to say, home inspectors are supposed to be inspecting the fireplace.
And I understand that it's looked at. To what degree can you? I don't know if I know how to ask the question. I guess is part of
Tell
the
you
problem
exactly.
here. Okay.
So in Arkansas, every home inspector, their license is regulated by the American Standard of Home Inspectors, American Society of Home Inspectors, ASHI for short. And so we have guidelines. And if you ever read one of my reports, I list the guidelines, the standards for each section: roof, fireplace, everything, so that the customer or the client knows, here's what he has to do, and then you look at my report and here's what I did. Plus, it helps me, keep me in line, so I go through the list of things to inspect. But for the just to give you an example, for the fireplace, So fireplaces and fuel burning appliances. The inspector shall, and I hope this isn't boring.
No.
No.
The inspector shall inspect 1, fuel burning fireplaces, stoves, and fireplace inserts. 2, fuel burning accessories installed in fireplaces. 3, chimneys and vent systems. B, describe systems and components listed in the above. But the inspector is not required to inspect interiors of vent systems, flues, and chimneys that are not readily accessible.
Aha.
Fire screens and doors, seals and gaskets, automatic fuel feed devices, mantles and fireplace surrounds, combustion air components, and to determine their adequacy. Heat distribution assists gravity fed and fan assisted. Let me say that again. Heat distribution assists, which, examples of gravity fed and fan assisted. Fuel burning fireplaces and appliances located outside the inspected structures. Determine draft characteristics or move fireplace inserts, stoves, or firebox contents. So that gives you a list of what has to be inspected
Yeah.
and what they don't technically have to inspect.
Yep.
But I will say this.
That's fair.
There's nothing says the inspector can't go beyond these standards.
Okay.
And a lot of us do.
Yeah.
For instance,
I was just thinking. I mean, it's hard to imagine. I mean, when you just think about like inspecting a flue and all that stuff. I mean, assuming there'd be extra tools you'd have to have above and beyond your normal day-to-day scope of work.
right, exactly. And then the home inspection is supposed to be a visual only inspection. You probably read that on some reports. Yeah, that's true. It's visual only.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a non-invasive.
Yeah, don't be
procedure.
going in there tearing down a wall to look and see what's behind that wall. And yeah.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah.
Although with the electrical, it does get a little invasive because you take the dead front off of the panel, and you're supposed to take the panels off the heat and air equipment, the easily accessible panels off the heat and air equipment, and look at them. So, and those two things are kind of invasive. Yeah.
That just made me think of another question.
Bit.
So, as an inspector, when you go into a home, would you rather see a heat and air unit in the attic or outside? I know it's a personal preference, but like the handler in the attic or outside?
The air handler? Mm-hmm. Oh, you're talking about a package unit versus a split system? Mm-hmm. I had a package unit at one time, and I didn't really care for it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a bad experience.
Wait, is a package unit what we have?
No, but typically your handlers are on the inside, not outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got
I think
outside.
I think I
it's-
asked it wrong then.
I think is where he was
Okay.
trying to
Sorry.
catch up to you there.
Attic's okay. I mean, usually that's where it's got to be. Some people put them in closets. That's probably much better than the attic. Mine is in my crawl space. We have for some reason, I decided to buy some land that's on the side of a hill, and I built my house on it. And so we have a pretty good sized crawl space. But it worked out in our favor because we foam insulated it and sealed it. And so we put all the ductwork and the air handler in there, and it's storage space. I put a dehumidifier in there. It's pretty nice.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
perfect. Perfect.
That's like in our house. I know it's not heat and air, but our water heater was under the house, and thankfully it was. We went on a trip in 2017 and got home, and you could grow fish under the house. But luckily, our floors were safe.
Yeah.
That's where mine's at. For me, I want as much outside of the living space as possible. I want as much living space for me and
Well, and
the
I
kids
think
and my wife as possible.
that was kind of my thought process with and Kayla, I have not forgot about your question, about it being in the attic, because if you're not maintaining it and cleaning out the condensation line and whatnot, it can cause damage,
Oh yeah.
water damage. I mean, I've seen it happen. And so that's why in my brain, just my opinion, I would prefer it not to be in the attic.
Well, I mean, but it's like anything else in life. I mean, whether it's your home or your vehicle or whatever, you need to have scheduled maintenance
Oh yeah, absolutely.
at least twice a year.
Right. Okay. I'll ask Kayla's question now so I don't forget it. What areas do you service? Do you just service Heber?
No, ma'am. I went to Oxford, Arkansas yesterday. I don't know if you know where that's at.
I don't.
You know where Calico Rock is at?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to Calico Rock and take a right for probably 15 more minutes.
Holy moly.
I know it. So when I started, I thought, well, I'm just going to stay within an hour. And for the most part, I have. But that was for a new real estate agent that I'd never dealt with before. And I thought, well, why not? Might get some more referrals.
Exactly. I mean, whatever works.
Yeah. Plus, it was worth it.
Right. Right. And
But I go all around the lake. Kind of call that my territory, even though I'm a new guy. There's a home inspector on every corner around the lake. But around the lake, I go to Conway, Searcy, Batesville, Clinton. That's my main focus.
okay. Okay. Awesome.
But if somebody sells a house in Oxford, Arkansas, I'll go inspect.
You just call me and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Which is good, I think, starting out. You want to get your name out there, and I'll go where the call takes me within my comfort zone. Yeah.
If it's like on that one, it was a small place, but I charged them my standard fee, plus enough money for gas to get me there and back, and my time. It was worth it. Enjoyed it. It's pretty up there.
It is pretty country.
How many houses do you typically inspect in a week?
Well, it depends. This winter, not many. This is my first winter
Fair.
in this business, and I didn't realize how slow it got. It was a little depressing. But when it was going, a couple a day, like the week of Thanksgiving, they really only had 3 days that week. And I did 4 that week, 4 or 5, which is surprising to me.
Well, not only for me personally, I could see it being kind of hard to put a hard number on that, just simply because you got drive time.
Yep.
And I don't know if everybody out there listening knows or not, there's no short way to get anywhere.
Right.
I mean,
Around here.
around the lake. I mean, it's
Now, if you had 2 in the same neighborhood,
right.
that would be easy.
Yeah, if you had a subdivision you was working, you can knock out.
And there are guys that'll do 3 in a day, but I think those guys, they go in there and they inspect really, really quickly, as fast as they can, and take pictures, and then do their reports at night. But my time when I get home is for the wife and kids. I don't want to work that much anymore. I did that in my 30s. I'm kind of tired of that.
Well, too, and I just from past experience, there's a lot that plays into it. Like you said, your drive time, but it also depends too. Okay, is the seller going to be there? Is the seller and buyer going to be there?
How much of this day is going to be spent conversating?
Yeah. You answering questions to either or, is one or both of the agents going to be there? So there's a lot that plays into how quickly.
Yeah. At this point, you mentioned I'm new at this, so I'm not at the point yet where I can be picky. I mean, there are guys that have been doing it for a long time, and they don't even have to do a house. They'll turn down a house that has a crawl space.
Yeah.
I'd like to get to that point. I'm not there. I'm driving to Oxford, but that would be nice.
But that's the good thing about having several home inspectors around and in the area is
because you
just
have
like everything
some
else in life. Yeah, I mean, what you don't enjoy, somebody else may not mind, but they don't like doing what you don't mind, and I mean, it's everything in life.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. It would be nice if you. Doesn't matter what business we're in, if we could get to where we could just pick and choose.
Right.
That'd be-
right. Make things easier on your body. You
That's
know,
it.
Yeah.
All
Make-
those things. Yeah, that'd be great.
I work for myself and my family, and the easier I can make that, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
So in your short time, what has been your favorite part about getting into home inspections and getting out there and introducing yourself to all the realtors and joining
Meeting all
the,
the awesome realtors.
joining the
I got
Cleveland
you. I
County.
got you covered.
Yeah.
The politically correct answer.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
enjoyed meeting new people. I really have. I've met some pretty cool people.
Yes, we know.
I had a great time at y'all's meeting. I told you that. It was everybody at y'all's agency is really laid back, and we all just kind of sat around and talked that day.
We talked about everything, not just inspections, but everything.
We
Had a lot of fun.
We talked work. We talked. We just do it.
Yeah.
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 We don't. Life is life. Even at work, it's life. So we just try to live it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite thing. I like doing the inspections too, though. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I guess I've always been kind of, I don't want to say critical, but I've always been looking at details of things.
Yeah.
Detail oriented, I guess that'd be what that would be. So I do enjoy it.
I think the report side of it, I think, would be, I do not like paperwork. I wouldn't. I would rather crawl under the house than do the paperwork.
Well, I think their program though helps.
Yeah, but that's
it's
okay.
pretty
That's the
high-tech now.
21st century paperwork.
Yeah, it is. It is. The software, that's another expense to doing home inspecting is that you've got to have software. You got to have a monthly subscription to software.
Okay. So she said, this might have already been addressed, but I have to know what is on your shirt.
Dogs and
Chili
peppers.
Chili peppers.
Chili dog bar and grill. That one says Island Heat Jamaican Cafe.
It looks like a Cajun kind of shirt.
Is there a story with the shirt?
A friend of mine gave it to me. He outgrew it. He said,
Oh,
"You want
okay.
this shirt?" I said, "Sure."
Sure.
It's very, very comfortable.
That's what they were fishing for. They were fishing for a fun story.
Yeah.
Make something up.
Because it was Dee that asked it.
Oh, Danielle.
Yeah.
Yeah, little dogs and peppers. Yep,
I have to know.
one of my favorites.
So it's been a while since we done a business show. A business show.
A business.
So what's that question you always ask? You got like two of them. Been a minute.
I remember one of them.
When you remember?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good job. So, was it as bad as you thought it was coming in here and talking on the podcast?
No.
That's the first question.
I didn't think it was going to be bad.
Okay, good. Good.
And if we're not covering something that you want to cover, by all means,
Absolutely.
tell us to shut
'Cause
up and
There again,
You
we're
wanna
just
tell 'em something.
flying by the seat of our pants,
Yeah.
like we told you.
That's what I'm doing.
Second question that I try to always ask. I love it. I couldn't tell on camera. Is would you come back and do it again?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think David's trying to.
that. I mean, those questions work, but those are a funny story on the job.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
I don't remember the second one.
So there again, you've only been going since August, but you have to have a funny story. Maybe between August and now, during an inspection, something funny that makes this one so memorable.
Something funny.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny, but also kind of made me mad. I hit a tree limb with my drone and had to go get it on the roof. down in Greenbrier.
On a
I don't know if that
on
was
a
funny at the
on a
time.
roof that you didn't want to get on. You had to go get it.
Exactly. Risk my neck for that drone. Right?
Dang
I
it.
was supposed to save my neck.
Right.
Yeah.
That's perfect
right.
irony.
Right.
I don't know if that was funny or not, but I guess it is now. But at the time, no.
At the
Yeah,
time,
in the
no.
moment, no.
You're
No, and that
thinking-
was one of my first houses, and where I was still, really unsure that I was doing everything right, and
And then you have to
It's
tell them
embarrassing.
my drone landed on your house.
didn't
Now I got to
tell
climb
anybody
up
until
there.
just now.
Even better. Even better. But yeah, I could see that at the time not being funny because you're thinking, dang it, now I do have to get on this roof.
Just getting
And,
started. Spent this money. Now I
Oh
gotta go
crap,
spend it
my
again.
drone. I flew my drone into a tree limb and now
I ain't
did
even
it
got I ain't
break?
even got a check yet, and I already got to go buy a new one.
Yeah. So not at the moment funny, but funny.
Yeah, it's funny today.
Okay, what's my other question?
I don't remember. Somebody chime in out there.
I know because I don't remember.
Terrible. We're out of practice. You're out of practice. You need to come in here and talk to yourself some.
I need to come talk to myself. I
Yeah.
do that enough already.
Keep yourself up to date.
Yeah. Somebody said today it's okay if you talk to yourself as long as you don't answer, and I was like, "Well, I'm in trouble
Me too.
because I do both, and even get on to myself." Okay.
How'd you tell who was on there?
Well, you got 2 or 3 different ones. Which one are you on? We're looking at
That one.
that. Facebook.
It'll just show you
That one just shows you the Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
I think my wife's probably looking, but I can't tell.
And I can't see that up there.
So how long have y'all lived in Heber?
Well, this time I went to high school in Heber. My parents moved to Heber seventh grade, and I finished high school here, and then left to go to Conway and go to UCA. And then I met my wife down there and decided that we wanted to raise our family in Heber. So we moved to Heber in 2006.
That's the same year we moved up here.
Really?
Yep. We got married in 2005 and
That's
we
when
were
got
like,
married.
deuces,
congratulations.
we're going.
Good year for getting hitched, I reckon.
Yeah. At least for all of us. And
Was it November by chance?
October
close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
29th. Yeah.
So we got married in November of 2005. By April of 2006, we were packed up and moving up here.
That's when we moved here. It was April of 2006.
So we're pretty close there.
Doggone it.
Yeah.
Look at us go. So what does your wife do?
What does she do? Mm-hmm. She homeschools our kids
Very cool.
Oh,
and does 90% of everything that needs to be done as a house.
Very cool.
just
not
homeschooling,
A
right?
very important job.
99.9
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually just go out and work and then come home and everything somehow got done.
is
Yeah. Yeah.
she has a magic wand.
Yeah.
We have those. We just don't tell anybody we have those.
Yeah.
She's at home making cookies. Somehow she finds time to make those cookies.
Make those.
Bless her. She's
Well,
amazing.
if you're watching, thank you for the cookies. They are delicious.
Yes. But I can say I couldn't imagine in today's time homeschooling my kid.
What do you mean?
Well, for one, I don't think I'm smart enough.
Everybody is smart enough to homeschool their kids.
Into patience.
Well,
That might be an issue.
my wife has a lot of patience.
Yeah.
So let's get his contact info out there.
Oh, geez, you're gonna make me.
Just put it right.
I will.
Oh,
I gotta get. I don't have it memorized.
well, I was gonna let him tell you.
Well, I was just gonna.
like a court recorder. You can type it up.
I'm glad you have so much faith in me
I got all kinds of faith in you.
because I'm gonna put the business name and everything in there. Home inspection. Tim Okay, got it.
So typical home inspection, 1,500 square foot house, one level. To do the physical part of it, not the paperwork part of it. Roughly, and I know every house is different. Some houses have more going on with them, but
It's a little different. I do mine a little bit differently. I write my report while I'm doing the inspection. So if it's a normal house, a smaller house like you're talking about, and it's not tore up or anything, I would say probably 8 times out of 10, I send out my report before I leave the driveway
really,
Whoa.
because I'm. It's kind of like texting and driving, but I'm inspecting and writing with my phone, and my software helps me do that. Also. I've got really good software.
And so does it upload like if you're in the bathroom and you're making your notes and then you take your pictures, does it automatically or do you have to go back and place your pictures where they go?
It does it.
So
Okay.
your software is laid out like I'm assuming some sort of format, and
It does. It's.
bathroom here.
I guess we're on the.
Yeah, we.
I don't know if I can show you.
Yeah.
I'll
way
show
to
you
show it,
sometime. But yeah, it'll. It's separated by different rooms, different systems. It's kind of a hybrid. I know that some guys will do room by room. Some guys will do system. You know, I do hybrid. I just go through the house and try to make it flow and inspect it as I go.
Okay.
And yeah, but my software kind of leads me through the house almost. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a lot of preloaded comments. You know, like I said, most of my comments at the end of the comment, it'll say, I know it'll tell you what's wrong, and a lot of times it'll tell you why that's wrong. Even have illustrations on some of it. You know, here's what it ought to look like. Here's what yours look like. But you know, at the end, I say I recommend further evaluation and correction by a licensed blank.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not really as hard as you think doing the report and writing it. Now, if it's a house that's got a lot of problems, if it's been a rental house or hadn't been lived in, I take it home and go over it and make sure, you know, all my T's are crossed and
I's are dotted.
because you know, a lot of that is just because there's so much going on in that house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first house I ever inspected was a house that it was abandoned. No one lived in it except every once in a while this church that owned it or someone that went to that church, they owned it, and they would let a homeless family live there. And so no one took care of it. There were holes everywhere. And I couldn't, you know, you couldn't go 2 steps without having to take a picture of something and report it. And it took a very, very long time to do that one. In fact, I went back the next day just to look again to make sure I didn't miss anything. It was bad. But for the most part, if it's a clean house, I call them a clean house. You know, there's not a whole lot of craziness going on. I get your report back to you real fast.
That's pretty awesome.
So,
But it takes practice.
I'm sure it does.
Like I started out trying to do that, and I made a lot of mistakes in the very beginning.
Trying to do it as you go.
Yeah, if I could go back and do it over again, I would have practiced more with my software. But I didn't.
hey,
Learning on the
we-
So if
fly.
you're thinking about doing that, practice.
practice.
Practice before you go to that first inspection.
Fair
So,
enough. Do your house 2 or 3 times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Do your buddy's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neighbor's house. And just practice and
Yeah.
practice and practice. Because it was very stressful.
Oh, I'm
I can only
sure.
imagine, especially if you got the realtor or the buyer or the seller hanging out or
It's your first one. I
Yeah,
mean, you
and-
spent all this money to become a home inspector and gone to the class and you bought all these tools. And here you are. It's go time. And it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the sweet, the realtor, she's there and she's busy and she's got things to do and you're sweating that out because, you know, you don't want to waste her time. 'Cause you're there for 4 hours or however long.
right. Yeah.
So,
that.
But I've gotten a little much better since that first one.
I'm sure.
But I wish I would have practiced more
Yeah.
for sure.
But you're always better second time. or ought to be.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still getting better.
Yeah, I'm
Still
sure.
finding ways to improve. You know,
I mean, that's like today in CE. I mean, we learned all the ways we need to we need to do better.
yeah. Nobody's the best doctor
No,
they are on day one.
no,
You know.
no, and every one of them sees something they ain't never seen before. When I was having my health issues several years ago, my doctor was like, he had a notepad and he was like, we're just going to make a list and we're going to start checking them off until we find it, because I don't know. You know, it's
At least he was honest and willing to
yeah,
work.
yeah, that's fine.
Counts for a lot.
Yeah,
So, not putting prices out there because that's just not what we do. But do you determine prices by like square footage? It's 1,200 square foot versus 2,300 square feet. They're not going to be the same price. I
No
guess
way.
okay.
I have a standard price for 2,000 square feet or less, and then after that, it goes up.
and then you calculate your drive time. I would assume. I don't know that.
You know, for everywhere around the lake, I have a base price, and I keep it like that for everywhere around the lake. You know, because you guys are all my neighbors, basically.
Right.
But if I have to drive to Conway, you know, or Batesville or Oxford, I'll put a little bit in there for my gas money.
As
My
you
time.
should.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, I mean, typically we don't talk prices, but in his world, they do kind of have base prices, so it's a little easier to.
well, I wouldn't say they have base prices. The individual has base prices.
Right, it's more common to see some sort of where with like a plumber, I can't give you a price on plumbing your house because when I take this fitting off, what's going to break and it's just going.
Well, my goal
can't-
is for
but
us
you kinda
not
have a.
us not to talk about your prices. It's for them, the viewers, want to call and ask you questions, and then because they contacted
Right.
you,
Yeah, we don't want to tell them what the number is.
yeah, it's just
That's your
to
business.
make your phone ring, not ours.
I appreciate it.
However, we don't mind ours ringing either.
So here's a question: do if it is an agent or if it is a buyer that has contacted you to order an inspection, do you ask the buyer if you can send the inspection report to their agent?
Yeah, I used to not. For some reason, I didn't pay much attention to that. But now, on my inspection agreement, the very last thing you'll see before you're asked to sign is, unless you have an objection, this report will be shared with your agent.
Perfect. Perfect.
And that gives them a chance to say, no, I don't want it shared.
Right. Because it is their inspection.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
product is the report. And if you pay me to inspect a house, the product I give you in return for your hard-earned money is that report.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I that's something that sometimes kind of throws people for a loop too. That you don't send it straight, or I say you, home inspectors don't send the report straight to the agent. Well, the agents in this office is because even if there was an inspector that does want to do it that way, we're going to highly suggest that you talk to your client, which is the buyer,
Right.
or
And-
whoever the client is.
And I try to pre-warn all my buyers when it comes to that time. Okay, here's the list of inspectors that you can contact to schedule your home inspection. Now, you talk to that inspector, you can tell him, I want you to reach out to my agent. I want the report sent to my agent, whatever. But you are his client. So you have to tell him what you want.
Yeah, and what
Just the
correspondence
same
you're-
as us, correct? Because you're not working for me. You're working for that client.
Exactly.
It's kind of like with lenders. I mean, they do not have to talk to us. It does help a whole bunch
It does help.
if you are allowed to talk to us, but there's
It's up
nothing
to
that
that
says
client.
the client has to let you. Mm-hmm. So
Don't.
Yeah, most agents, they want to know how it went before anybody say they don't get the report. There for some reason the client didn't want that report sent out. Most agents still want to know, hey, was there anything crazy going on? Is
Well,
the
I mean,
house in pretty
'cause-
decent shape.
Right.
So I always give a courtesy call and say, hey, this house is pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
but it just helps navigate, because I mean, if the client says no, I don't want the report to go over there, this, that, and the other, but then they call or say, well, my inspection's done, but I want this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, this done. It's hard to it's just hard to work through that without having some communication about what are we actually trying to get to here. But most of the time, that's not an issue. We just want our clients to know that you don't have to share anything with us.
They drive the bus.
Right.
We're just following.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just do what you tell us we do.
You got to find that most of the time buyers, especially younger buyers, don't know anything about home inspections. They're surprised that this is the thing. Yeah.
Well,
There's a way we could-
even the older generation,
Yeah, it's just
a few of the older generation, they're like, well, do I have to? Well, no, you don't. We always try to recommend it because it's for your knowledge.
and then there are
your money.
Right.
different
It's your
types of
investment.
inspections that we probably ought to address that. So you have the home inspection, and then depending on if you're a buyer, depending on
yeah.
the type of loan that you're getting, you could have another inspection in the appraisal. It's two separate inspections.
Correct.
And in those situations, if we know what kind of loan you're getting, we're probably going to ask the client to ignore your inspection until we get the appraisal inspection, because the appraisal inspection is absolutely, it's got to get done.
Yeah, there's
get
no
close.
option.
Yeah. It's unfair. It kind of sounds unfair to your job, but
No, I get it.
yeah.
I get it. Yeah, all those numbers have got to be plugged in.
Yeah. And odds are they're going to find something totally different than you did. And
Well, and that kind of plays in both of our, the client is also looking at you to kind of guide them through this report, and looking at us to guide them through the whole process from start to finish.
yeah.
So, we're doing our jobs, but I know it sounds bad, but we're holding their hand at the same time.
Yeah, you guys are kind of I don't know why, but Pied Piper came to mind. We're kind of director, like the conductors, of the orchestra.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's what you're doing. You're making sure all the pieces come together.
Come together.
The puzzle is one piece, and everybody's happy, and everything's signed, and T's are crossed, and I's are dotted.
That's it. And I have
it's-
clients look at me funny sometimes, because I'll tell them, if at any point during this you're going to be mad, I want you to be mad before closing day. If you're going to be mad at me, be mad before closing day, because once closing day happens, I want it to be nothing but smiles and happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's work it all out now.
because I'm going to get on your nerves between now and close day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we try to, I don't want to say over communicate, but
Over communicate.
Over-communicate with-
But I don't know if you can over
You can't
communicate.
over-communicate.
Yeah. There's too many.
there's
There's
too many
pieces.
variables.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our job is to take on all the stress so that you can enjoy this process of either buying your first home or buying your lake home or buying your forever home or
You're at work.
whatever.
You're at work. You're raising your kids. You're doing whatever your life entails for you to do.
Yeah. It's our job to
it's-
keep this going
Yeah.
that way, not that way.
Yeah. But when we do call or reach out, we really need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got something that's got to be addressed pretty
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So we try to be that middleman that takes it all on and deals with it until it's to the point we can't deal with it anymore without
Your assistance.
you coming in and saying, okay, Mr. Lender person or, whatever. So yeah.
But we do appreciate what home inspectors do. It's very important.
Because I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. But that's only because I don't like creepy crawlies.
Yeah. It is. I'm not just saying that because I do it for a living, but it is very necessary. I did one in BB, I think it was last week. And come to find out, that house was a trailer that had been built
over.
around. Yeah. Nobody knew it till that day. Till that day. At least the buyer and the buyer's agent didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That day.
And that's
Well, I was
not
there.
uncommon.
It's really not uncommon.
Yeah. Because like for the county side of it, when they're depending on the county and how they do things, but say you put a mobile home on a piece of property and you enclose it and build around it, whatever. Well, you can have it addressed on county records to show the way they do it. For somebody that done it for 13 years, I could look at it and, well, the way we see it is on public records, I can't tell you, but if I seen the actual parcel card, I could tell you. They will code it differently, but it will still show up as dwelling on county records. And it's a built around.
Mobile.
So, and sadly, for real estate agents, county records is the best records
That's where we
have
get
to
a lot
go
of our
off
information from.
most of the time. And you think about properties up here, they change hands on the regular. So Tim done this back in 1975 and it's been sold 3 times. Well, my seller don't have a clue. If nobody ever told him, crawled under there and told him, that it was a mobile, he don't know,
Yeah. Yeah, my client on that house I mentioned, he's from California, and I guess basically he was ready to buy a house sight unseen in Arkansas, and when he found out that, of course the deal was off. But,
Sure.
even his agent was like, "Yeah, I don't blame him. There's no way
Right.
I want to get into something like that."
right?
And not saying anything's wrong with a built over mobile.
But it wasn't what he thought.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
He was not informed of the property correctly. And not saying that's on his agent.
Yeah, that wasn't.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at
Right.
all.
Not saying that's on his agent. It's just that information was not available.
Yeah, it just wasn't
So-
known.
But that's the value, or one of the things that bring value to a home inspection.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the first time I've done an inspection for someone from out of state, that was looking to buy a property sight unseen. It's scary to me.
Sight
but-
unseen scare me to death. I mean,
But
They
yeah,
do.
there are people that do that.
they're- we try real hard to talk them out of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the ramifications down the road could be much stiffer than today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and by no means are we downvaluing a built over mobile
No, not at all.
or anything like that. It's just there's a lot more detail that goes into that, which leads me to my next question for you in your report. So if you're doing a mobile, do you take pictures and list the HUD plates?
In a mobile, I did that yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Did that Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Because for any of our viewers that are listening, if you have a mobile home, those HUD plates are very, very important. Even if you remodel the HUD plates and that manufacturer sticker that's on the inside, it's typically in a utility cabinet or something like that. Those are very, very, very important when it comes to reselling.
And if you're
Or
out there and you have
even
a mobile and you're
refinance.
thinking about selling in the future, come talk to us about title work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't wait until you're under contract to figure that out.
Yeah. Because if you don't have them, there are ways to get them or to, I don't want to say get around not having them, but make it possible for it not to bite you in the butt on the back end. So,
That is one thing I do highly recommend.
yeah, just a tidbit since
sorry.
I
We kind of
had that asked that question. But I love the fact that you take pictures and you put them in your report.
But this is the first real estate business show that we've done too. Like one of the things that actually goes in almost every real estate transaction, a home inspection.
Yeah. Unless it's
done
vacant
any-
land.
Any loan people?
I mean, we've had some lenders.
Yeah. But
They
it
were
was a
different
different setting.
contexts,
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, because I mean, you don't see that all the time. And I just feel that those HUD plates are undereducated, if that's even a word.
Underrated.
Whatever. But they are so important.
Because of the snag they can cause.
I mean, you got to be in Little Rock tomorrow.
That's a good question.
I
8
just
o'clock,
I just
believe.
realized what time it was.
Oh yeah. Good job, Tim.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it is 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah, he's still got to drive back to Heber.
2 days
Ooh,
Yeah.
of C&E in Little Rock.
Well, we'll definitely have to get you back
yeah.
because
Yeah.
we went an hour and a half, and I don't feel like we covered anything.
I hope I didn't bore anybody.
No, it's just
I don't
good
think
stuff.
so. I don't think so. I mean, they're still watching, so there's that.
Right.
But yeah, I do appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And like David said, definitely get you back on. And then you may have a few more juicy stories to tell us.
Yeah, from what I understand, the busy season is coming up.
Yeah.
And I can already tell it's picking up. So maybe I'll get another 6 months under my belt and
Come
buy
back.
out some more. See
Yeah.
what's changed.
Definitely.
See if I'm still having fun.
Right?
Exactly.
May come in here with no hair, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Headed.
And I do appreciate you doing it at short notice because I told David, I was like, Tim's going to disown me. He's not going to talk to me anymore because he's done asked me like twice to send him dates, and I still ain't sent him dates. And then either we had a cancellation for tonight or we didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And I was like, okay, I'm texting Tim right now. Right now. I was so grateful that you said yes.
Well, I wasn't going to say no whenever y'all ask me. Helps me get my name out there.
Yes.
That's one of the main obstacles when you start a business is getting your name out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Is it?
appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all have been very hospitable to me. Both times I've met you.
Oh, well, thank you.
We try to be okay humans.
Not going to say good humans, just okay humans.
Well, I mean, some people, it's all business. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
business, cut and dry.
Well, our theory is if we can't do what we got to do and have fun,
Do
What's
we
the
really wanna
point?
do it?
Right.
why are we even
life's
doing
short.
it?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
real short.
So,
Yeah, there's no sense in hating your job.
No.
If you hate it, do something different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll give you about 6 more months under your belt, and then we'll hit you up. Hey Tim, it's time to come back.
I'll be here. I'll come. Bring some more cookies.
Bring some cookies.
Episode 2.
That's the only way you're allowed to come back is you have to bring cookies.
Episode 2 with Tim. Why did you quit home inspection?
Don't wish that on him.
I'm just aggravating.
Well, if that's the case, maybe it was something much, much better.
right.
There you go.
It's the lottery.
Because if you're not improving,
Need to
then
go
what
to
are
work.
you doing?
You're dying.
Yeah. So there's that.
That's the goal every day. Get better at whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Yep.
And that should be all of our goal. Be
Absolutely.
better tomorrow than we were today. In some aspect. Yep.
Yep.
Well, thank you. Thanks everybody out there.
Good night.